Hello, everyone. It's Friday. That means it's Chat with Mac on the last. Oh my God, is it Halloween? Is today Halloween? I think today's
Is
Halloween. Is
is
it?
it? Is it?
Maybe it is. I don't remember. It's been a while. But on this last day of October, everyone, thank you for joining us. We're glad to have you. For those of you that are new to what we do, welcome, welcome, welcome. The month absolutely flew. Yeah.
It's like you have some event that you're looking forward to, and then you get so busy. It's like you're thinking, can I really do it or not? And it's like whatever. I'm just gonna do it, and then you just blow everybody out of the water with what you said. It's like it's that kind of a week.
It's that kind
I mean,
of
I
week.
was,
Yeah.
I had calls back to back, and people were like, "Hey, come join our session, and we're just gonna ask you some questions. We're gonna do some role plays and stuff." And I was like, "I'm not prepared, but what the hell, you know?" And I go in there, and people were like, "Oh wow, we didn't even think about this." And I mean,
I
it's like,
love it.
but it's all the days are kind of merging in. I don't know if something I did yesterday or a week ago. It's all kind of merging together.
It really is. I mean, we're what 2 months out of the end of the year, and now everything is about to really head into warp drive now because now it's just gonna heck what
Yeah.
November is next week. Good Lord, man.
Yeah, and everything, gets compounded by the chip shortage. I mean, we can't get hardware fast enough.
Yeah.
We are, all the meetings that I'm having with business owners and C-level executives, and I'm telling them, look, if you're thinking about growing, adding users, and you're thinking about getting new machines, go ahead and order them. Keep about 5 to 7 machines on hand because we can't get machines. I mean, there's been orders for Surface devices for about over a month now, 1.5 months, and it's just a Surface laptop.
Good
One
Lord.
1.5 months. So finally, I found that model on with a vendor on Amazon, and I shipped a few. And as luck would have it, FedEx attempted delivery, and they said it was an exception. They couldn't deliver. I don't know what the reason was, and they sent it back. And I'm like, come on. That's like gold. Why are you sending it back? I almost feel like I should stop the FedEx truck somewhere in the middle of nowhere and just
Right. It's like,
get all
hey,
the
hold on,
machines
guy.
out. No, I'm just kidding. So one of the things we were doing a VCIO role play meeting, and one of the things that kind of came up was customers don't have enough cyber insurance coverage.
It's funny because this is the thing I don't know if everyone who's been watching this for a while, at the beginning of the year, Nadine was really, really pounding a message of getting sufficient cybersecurity insurance. And on top of that, the insurance that you have probably isn't even enough. I'm glad we're talking about that because in the landscape and really the temperature that we're in now with everything that's been going on with hacks and so on, this really needs to be playing in people's heads.
Yeah, it's crazy that majority of policies that. So I don't review the policies myself, right? I'm not an insurance expert. I send it to one of our partners who is an insurance expert, and they can look at the size of the company and the liabilities and figure out what a good cyber insurance policy should look like for that type of a customer. And we're seeing that a lot of customers, even now, have just a rider on their general liability or their business policy. It's just cyber insurance, just a rider on that. And those riders are worthless. You can just, take that rider and burn it, and it's not going to make any difference because those are worthless. You need specific cyber insurance coverage. Now, when we say cyber insurance coverage, customers and people are thinking that, okay, it's, you just cover like breach and it just covers us in case we lose something to a fire or something and we can get, it's a lot more than that. Folks, think about it this way. your cyber coverage is going to cover all your upstream, which is your vendors and stuff, and
Yep.
all your downstream, which is your customers and stuff.
Yep.
Think about it this way. Let's say you had a breach, and let's say, a month from now, a customer is just having bad time doing business. They're going to go out of business. So now they're scrambling and they decide, okay, they're going to sue you because you had a breach a month ago. What do? If you're a small business, that could be life changing. That could be enough to put you out of business. And if your insurance, your cyber insurance is riding on your umbrella policy, it's not going to cover stuff. It's not going to be near enough. And most companies in the small business place, where when an incident like this happens, usually they end up going out of business. So now just to give everybody an example, so like an IT company like us, what do we do as far as insurance goes, cyber coverage goes? So we make sure that whatever policy we're getting is going to cover some of the upstream items, which is some of our vendors, so that side is protected, and our downstream, so that side is protected. We just happen to be in the middle of it. Yeah, we need protection too, but that's just one piece of the puzzle. Right. There's two other pieces on either side that you need to look out for. Because if something happens, it could be something as simple as a vendor coming down to you and saying, hey, we've had a breach of, so-and-so intellectual property that is related to a breach that happened at your organization, and intellectual property, what kind of value can you put on there? If it's a vendor that is, 10 times your size, that's going to be huge.
Wow.
You need to have proper coverage. So one of the things that I'm doing to kind of get people to understand this is I'm going to start asking customers during my VCIO visits to get a copy of their cyber insurance coverage. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that coverage and have an analyst analyze it. And then we're going to take that report back to the customer and say, this is what your cyber coverage is good at. This is where it's lacking. This piece can be made a little stronger or a little weaker, or whatever you have. So that way they're getting numbers from an expert and not just somebody who just can do insurance day in and day out. And that's the thing. I know we've talked about this, like, some underwriters are just not as good as some other underwriters. So, that's just one piece. But another piece is, do you have enough coverage? And another piece is your coverage actually covering both your vendor side and your client side? Or is it just you? What all is it covering? It's like, it's not as simple as just reading a policy. It's more like when you would engage a lawyer into something. The lawyer who does this for day in, day out is going to know automatically what certain terminology means in legal terms. That's what the insurance experts are doing, is they're making sure that the terminology being used, what does that mean in insurance terms? That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm no expert, so don't take my word for it. That's why I have an expert who will go through it, give me the report, and then I can have a conversation with the customer saying, Mr. Customer, this is where you have excellent coverage, this is where it's lacking a little bit, and this is where it's terrible. Now you can kind of move things around and make sure it's good, rounded coverage.
So companies can buy. So, for example, I own a company. Let's say I get some kind of, what's the blend, if you will, insurance from my insurance company to help me. But companies are able to buy supplemental insurance to make sure that they're covered correct. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to get that from whoever they're insured by now. This may be through another company that will make sure that, okay, gotcha.
So there are actually companies out there, insurance companies that specialize just in cyber coverage. And the reason they're able to specialize in this is because they have people who understand technology and the terminology. Because a traditional insurance agent may not even know what certain terms mean. So you have to have somebody who has knowledge both of insurance and technology, so they can put two and two together and say, okay, hey, yeah, this term is not what you think it is. It actually means this, and you need this. So, the bottom line is everybody needs protection. In this day and age, especially as we move into the future, we're going to need more and more protection. Just to give you an example, just 6 months ago, there were so many providers out there that were writing cyber insurance coverage policies. Now it's hard to find somebody who will write you a policy for cyber insurance. I mean, it is getting so bad that these insurance providers are saying, no, do you do, I'm just throwing out an example. Oh, do you do pen testing on an annual basis? No. Okay. Yeah, we're not going to cover you. We can't offer you a policy. That's something simple, right? That pen testing is penetration testing. Mm-hmm. Penetration testing is not something easy. Penetration testing takes a lot of time and effort. A typical external penetration test costs around $10,000. So if the penetration test costs $10,000, these guys are so averse to that risk that they're basically saying we don't want to do cyber insurance. That's why they're requiring small businesses to get those pen tests before they will write cyber insurance. Now, there are still companies who specialize in cyber insurance. Those guys know what they're doing. Those guys will actually do a risk analysis and find out what you're doing. They won't just say, oh, just do a pen test and, if that comes through, we'll write it. No, these guys know the business. It's like in our industry, in the MSP industry, there are some specialist insurance companies that specialize just writing insurance for MSPs. And those are the companies that you want because they understand the risk, right? I mean, MSPs like us, we work with a bunch of different industries, a bunch of different businesses. The risk is significant, right? Because we are a prime target. If somebody can get into an MSP, they basically have access to a bunch of companies. That's why these bad guys, were targeting SolarWinds and Kaseya, and then I think there was another RMM tool that was hacked earlier in the year. So the thing is, you need to make sure that you have proper coverage. If it's just a rider on your general coverage, it's probably not enough. And that's what I'm seeing. I mean, I have yet to see a rider on your general liability that was enough coverage for cyber insurance. Now, wow. As an MSP, we want our customers to have proper coverage. Keep in mind, it helps us. It covers us as well. So it covers part of what we do for the customer, right? Like I say, a hack, a security incident is going to happen at some point.
It's not a matter of, I think you used to say it's not a matter of if it'll happen, it's a matter of when it'll happen.
Exactly. Yeah. So assume breach. It is going to happen. So we want to make sure that the coverage a customer has is going to cover them when that happens, and that is going to cover part of what we're doing, and then our insurance is going to work with their insurance. Now, here's another example. And this has been coming up in the MSP meetings quite a bit, which is, why do MSPs want their customers to have good cyber insurance? Because if there is an incident, or when there is an incident, if the customer's insurance is no good, the customer may be very good friends with you. The customer isn't going to come and sue you, but their insurance provider is.
Mm.
So we want to make sure that the insurance policies work hand in hand, and it's not like, somebody getting insurance from some third party who is just like, okay, well, we have to pay out, or hey, we can sue these other guys because they don't have enough resources to fight us, so we'll just sue them, and for this amount, and then we can make it up on what we have to do on a payout. But the industry is just crazy right now. I mean, I can't stress it enough. You need to make sure you have proper coverage. It's only a matter of when an incident happens. Whether it's a small incident or a large incident, it's just a matter of time.
But why is it that so when we were discussing this at the beginning of the year, things might have changed. It was March, I think. So maybe within the last 7 months since we've been, when we were talking about it, why aren't enough MSPs talking about this? It seems like, because some of the other companies, I remember when I was calling into companies about insurance, they're like, yeah, no, we get, through our insurance company. And I was like, that may not be enough. Our IT guy, if he hasn't talked to us about it, it's probably not that big of a deal. And I'm like, whoa, that's a horrible way to look at it, but okay.
That's why CIOs get fired.
Yep. Yep.
So at the end of the day, if you get a breach and you didn't have enough coverage, you end up firing somebody who didn't make that decision, whether it's a CIO or whatever, whoever, the title doesn't matter, whoever it is, that person, let's say, gets fired. But the problem is the damage is already done to the organization. And it's, for some small businesses, it's very hard to recover from something like that. So now MSPs are talking more about it. I mean, in most of the peer meetings that I'm in, and we have, MSPs from all around the world, we make sure and keep security up front in front of everybody, and we talk about insurance, because security and insurance, they go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. So, it's good to secure stuff with technology, but then you also need to make sure you're covered on the financial side of things, and that's where insurance comes in. I mean, when something like this happens, you don't want to start hunting after it happens. Insurance is something that you want to have in place, so when it happens, you can recover quickly because you have that coverage right there. We are talking more and more with MSPs around this. You might have heard of terms like CISO, Chief Information Security Officer. That term did not exist, but maybe a year ago that term didn't exist. Now companies are onboarding CISOs, a specialized C-level executive whose main thing is security, right? Some companies didn't have CISOs, or they didn't believe in a CISO, and then they got breached, and then they hired a CISO. I know of a company who hired a CISO from the FBI. I'm not going to name any names, but the thing is, it's a big issue. It's only becoming bigger. We don't see it slowing down. We need to train our users. We need to make sure the right type of coverage is in place. We need to make sure our policies are good. We need to make sure our procedures are good.
Yeah.
Everything needs to work like a well-oiled machine. Think of it like an internal combustion engine. When that timing belt breaks, everything breaks.
Yep.
The only difference is, in the business world, everything is a timing belt, because one part has a huge impact on another part of the business. So if IT breaks, which is really the heart of an enterprise, when IT breaks, everything falls apart. So we want to make sure that you have enough coverage, along with all the other pieces that you're putting in place, the technical pieces that you're putting in place, the procedural things you're putting in place. We need to make sure that we have insurance in place as well.
Now, and just for everyone's information, we can help them, with giving them guidance as far as how they do that. Correct?
Yeah. So we don't do it internally, but we have partners who specialize just in that. And disclaimer, we don't get any kickbacks. We don't get any, we just put two people together and they can figure out what they want to do. And this has happened quite a few times where we have introduced customers and prospects to our cyber insurance experts, and then they figure out, they see, the ins and outs of the coverage they have. Now, most of the time, we see that the coverage a customer had is not enough, but there's been a couple of instances where there was coverage, and there's been, I think, one instance where it was excessive coverage, but of the slightly in the wrong direction, so they had to kind of tweak it. But yeah, there are instances. So the experts, they can tell you, for your size business in your vertical, do you have enough coverage? So they can tell you all that. And they work on actual numbers. I mean, I know been like, one or two times where the insurance experts, they will ask, the C-level executive, okay, I need these numbers, like I need your revenues, or, whatever. They need to calculate the risk. They need to calculate the actual monies involved so they can cover it appropriately, right? I mean, there's no other way to do it, right? And some of these business owners had a problem. They were like, oh, well, I don't want to really reveal, our revenues. And it's like, you do it for business liability insurance.
That's true.
It's insurance. It's just insurance.
That's true.
So it's like, it's like you might have an insurance for your house, but then you have an insurance for the roof. Why isn't the insurance for my house covering my roof? Well, that's just the way it is.
That's just what, yep.
Your general liability is not covering cyber. It's just the way it is. And that's an easy way to look at it is, you have insurance on or you have insurance on your house, but then you still need flood insurance.
Yeah,
if you're
another one.
You still need flood insurance. Like, it boggles the mind. It's like, I already have insurance on my house. Why the hell do I need flood insurance?
Flood insurance.
Well, you do. So everything said, it's something to consider. Have an expert go through your cyber insurance policy. Make sure it is going to protect you. It is going to protect your vendors and your customers. Because not now, not tomorrow, but one day the question is going to come up. When customers start asking you, yes, we've been doing business for 10 years, but I need to see what kind of insurance you have for cyber, because everything is dependent on technology. I mean, without technology, things don't work.
That's
we've
true.
seen that with the chip shortage, right? I mean, the chip shortage is wreaking havoc. Why? Because everything relies on technology.
Can't build cars, can't sell car places. It's been a lot.
Yeah. And so have an expert check your coverage, and if you need help, reach out to us. We can put you in touch with the experts. And we don't have anything to do with these experts. They're not affiliated with us. They're totally separate third parties. And these are companies that are coming from the insurance side, and over time they've kind of specialized in cyber coverage. That's what these guys do. It's like, you don't want to have just another IT guy do a pen test. That's not the right person for the job. That's a different skill set. Same way, like, you don't want an infrastructure guy developing a program for you. It's a different skill set.
Yep.
And you don't want a developer working on your infrastructure. I mean, we've seen that happen, and we've seen the kind of mess that they leave behind in their wake. So you want to stay away from that. But the thing is, find the appropriate expert in the field, and then get their input on what to do, and if what you have is good.
That's good. Good stuff.
So, and that's, I mean, it's at the end of it sometimes, because it's an unknown, it feels like it's such a huge deal, but at the end of the day, it's really not. You just, it's just like you have lawyers. You have lawyers because they know law, and that's why you have insurance agents and insurance people, because they know insurance.
It's true.
I mean, I don't claim to know insurance. All I know is that most of our customers don't have enough.
Yep.
Because I mean, and this is based on actual historical data. And I know most of the prospects don't. I mean, prospects, their IT companies are not even asking them and bringing up insurance.
They're
And that's
not.
a huge red flag. So why are you not even talking about it? It's like hacks going all left and right, and nobody's talking about those hacks. Now, the owner or the CEO or the president, they may not know because they don't eat, drink this stuff. They don't, do technology all day long. But the IT companies who are supporting these guys,
They should know.
they should bring it up.
They
need
absolutely
to.
know.
It is. I would say it's not ethical if they don't bring it up.
I agree.
And with that, I think we'll call it a day.
Love it. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, it's coming up. We have a phenomenal seminar. Nadeem will be talking about this type of stuff, and it's in person. It's a lunch and learn that we're going to be doing. And then we're also going to be doing a webinar. But that lunch and learn is awesome in that you get that more hands-on, that hands-on experience with Nadeem. You meet other CEOs. This is strictly for CEOs, owners of companies. This is all, but it's going to touch on stuff like this. So look out. It's going to be happening soon.
Yeah, and it'll be like a one-on-one session.
Yep.
For free.
Yep.
There won't be a cost.
There won't be a we're feeding you on top of that. I mean,
exactly. Now, the thing is, we're probably not going to be able to do well, depending on how many people come and register. We're probably not going to be able to do for everybody, but we will do it for a significant number of people.
Yes.
I would love to, have enough bandwidth to help everybody, but that's just not possible. So. But we will do one-on-ones to where, if you have specific questions, concerns, we will dig into your specific environment and give you, and I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. I'll just give you some direction that you can go back to your IT teams and ask them the questions you should be asking. And a lot of times, if you ask somebody the right questions, you can get the right answers. The problem is we don't know the right questions to ask. And that's what we're going to get you up to speed on, and we'll figure that out. So it'll be a one-on-one, very specific to your company, and I think it's going to be awesome. We are working with some heavyweights out there, if you will, and I think it'll be phenomenal. And really for a small business, it's going to be. Something like this doesn't happen very often. I know you guys get bombarded with seminars and webinars and stuff just like I do. But this is going to be something different where we're going to do a one-on-one as opposed to, just generic stuff. Most of the time seminars, people are trying to sell you something. That's not what this is.
That's not what
this is going to be. No. This is going to be educational for the business executive, not IT people, not tech people. So if you're a tech, you don't need to be there. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. And Mac, I think with that we'll call it a day.
Yes, sir.
And do you have insurance, Mac?
I do have insurance. I actually probably need to get some more. I'll be 50 in 5 years with a 24-year-old. She just turned 24 yesterday, so. It's one of those things that's churning. I should get some more. I should definitely get some more.
Yeah. Same thing here. I mean, we evaluate all of our insurances every so often, and insurance is one of those industries that just changes. Sometimes one aspect is higher, sometimes another. So you want to get an expert's eye on it and make sure that you are covered for the right portions for the right stuff. So, but yeah, other than that, everybody have a great day. It's been a hectic week. It's been a fun week. I think I've learned a lot this week. Hopefully I'll retain most of it. I probably won't, but hopefully, and we'll see you next week.
All right, guys, have a good one.